A crazy entitled couple tries to run our delivery van off the road, stating that if we didn't cater their upcoming party for free, they were going to sue us into oblivion and shut down our business. But after reviewing the camera footage that we had on the truck, I proved to them once and for all that they're not only lying, but also that they're gonna have some problems after I file a detailed police report. Here's what happened. So this happened sometime last year, but due to it being an open incident, I held off on sharing until now. In late winter, early spring of last year, I got a call in from the delivery driver that someone had brake checked them on the main road into town and then they sped off. Luckily, it was after delivery was completed, so nothing delicate was on board. I take down the plate, the vehicle information, as well as all the standard stuff for an incident of road rage. But before I can finish up the call, the brake checkers actually called into our main office. Now, before I can complete the standard spiel, they immediately cut me off and start screaming. Right as I'm greeting them and saying the name of our catering business, the entitled man on the other line said, "Your jerk driver tried to run us off the road." Now, it's important to know that I know our driver. They are the least aggressive, most careful driver I have ever seen. They regularly deliver precarious items like wedding cakes without so much as disrupting them. If anything, they're too cautious, definitely not running people off the road. I say to him, "Excuse me, sir, but I don't think our delivery van would have tried to run you off the road intentionally. Were you perhaps traveling in the vehicle's blind spot? There are warning signs on the delivery van to avoid lingering in blind spots when the driver signals." And this was about as far as I could get with trying to be diplomatic because these people freaked out on me. The entitled woman of this couple then said to me, "Why are you defending this jerk? This is some minimum wage idiot that probably doesn't even belong in this country." The man then chimed in and said, "Your driver tried to take us out, and you're making excuses? This is outrageous." I then said to them, "Sir, ma'am, please calm down. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of things." The entitled man continued, "Do you know who I am? I'll shut your whole company down. You listen to me, you little jerk. You better be ready to give us some hefty compensation, or we'll take this to the police and we will sue you." It was then that the woman came in with something that really sounded super sketchy. She said to me, "We have a party coming up, and if you'd agree to cater to it for free, we might let all of this go." Now, I have no doubt the look on my face when I heard that out of the woman's mouth must have been one of the most exacerbated faces I've ever made. And at this point, I'm just pausing to try and process this bizarre demand. The man then said to me, "Hey, stupid, did you hear what my wife was saying? Do you speak proper English?" Now, it's at this point I've had enough, as I had put the pieces together as soon as they'd complained about road rage. I then recited their license plate number and said, "Is that your car with a gold 4-door crossover?" The man on the other line then said to me, "Are you the jerk driving that big stupid van?" But I responded by saying no, but the driver called in that you brake checked them right before you called in. This man then said to me, "We just tried to stop the driver because he was a danger to everybody on the road." But I just said to him, "Okay, sure. Well, we will see what the facts are once the vehicle's camera footage is reviewed." Our delivery vehicle is equipped with 360-degree recording. Let me pull that up real quick. This guy then started freaking out. He said to me, "That's a lie, there's no such thing." But unlucky for him, there is. So I pull the footage up from the fleet management software, which proceeds to show the gold car in question not just traveling in the blind spot, but are actually fully behind the vehicle. They then speed up to try and cut it off when the driver turned on the signal to change lanes. I say to him, "Sir, I can clearly see your wife in the driver's seat, and she's clearly speeding up after the driver signaled that they wanted to change lanes, and that's when she entered the vehicle's blind spot. Then, instead of slowing down when the vehicle started to change lanes, you kept trying to push up until they were forced onto the shoulder." The entitled woman tried to say, "Oh no, that's not what happened." But I said, "Don't interrupt me. I can clearly see you zip into the left lane, overtake the van, merge in front without signaling at an unsafe distance, and then slam on your brakes. So you know what? After reviewing this footage, I think it's a great idea to get the police involved." At this point, the entitled woman is sputtering and trying to come up with something to say. And that's when the man says, "Just hang up the phone." They then disconnected the call, and I had a huge laugh about it and then made an online police report. But hopefully in the future, their insurance premiums will never be the same ever again. Wow, I can't believe that someone actually tried to brake check one of your employees and then try to give you some kind of ultimatum that you either cater their stupid party or else they're going to sue you. That is crazy and absolutely ridiculous. The fact that anyone would think they would get away with that is also just mind-numbing. So good for you for having a level head throughout all of this, and good for you guys for having cameras, because if it wasn't for that, I'm sure these people probably would have gotten away with it. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. Am I the jerk for not apologizing to my future mother-in-law after she called me out about about fake drama during a meeting about my wedding. Here's what happened. Okay, so this all broke loose in late October when my fiance called during a weekend meeting saying that his parents and my parents are going to sit down and discuss the wedding. But I said, look, I'm so drained. Can it wait? It is set for October of 2026. Any other weekend would be great. But no, apparently it must be today. At the meeting, my future mother-in-law opened with an unexpected statement. She said to me, look, I love you, but I heard accusations at work that you claimed I'm not involved in the wedding. Do you remember saying anything like this? Now, for a bit of context, she previously worked as the assistant director at my daycare, maintaining a close relationship with a coworker. Now, when I heard this, I was surprised and very confused. I clarified that I had not said such a thing. I don't typically engage in personal discussions at work. I did mention that a coworker who recently got married asked me about my wedding plans, and I had shared that my father is covering the cost due to tradition. My future mother-in-law then proposed that her brother be the wedding DJ, but that's when my father responded, noting that he prefers hiring a professional service for reliability, stating that he needed someone to chew out if something went wrong. Well, the meeting ended abruptly after this, and I left feeling upset and completely blindsided. My parents supported me, emphasizing that involving them in an issue between my future mother-in-law and me was inappropriate. It felt infantilizing. The following Monday, she suggested we stop visiting her home. I conveyed my disappointment in a written message, expressing my discomfort and need for space, especially during upcoming holidays. I also requested that future issues be addressed privately. Well, her reaction was intense. She labeled me immature and demanded an apology. And when my fiance defended me, this exacerbated the tensions. His brother acknowledged the challenging work environment that might fuel gossip, but maintained a balanced approach. Fast forward, and when we visited to drop my fiance's brother off at home on November 3rd, she approached me in the car, said she forgives me, and expressed her hope to move forward. But I just responded by saying, okay, and then my fiance said that he would speak to her later. He then said that she cried, went to her room and broke stuff, and that his brother took her on a walk to calm down. Now, at this point, I have maintained that I won't apologize for something I didn't do. Apologies should be genuine, not concessions to ease discomfort. So am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? Oh man, I understand completely where the original poster is coming from, because I am right there with you. If I didn't do anything, I'm not apologizing. Sorry, I don't care how awkward things are, that's not happening. And in this situation, you literally did nothing wrong. For starters, why is your mother-in-law having a meeting about your wedding? And then when we have the meeting, it's about gossip that could have been talked about in private. It's like, lady, what are you talking about right now? You're literally bringing up drama that's probably not even true, just in some weird, desperate attempt to get information about the original poster and how they feel about you. That's all this says to me. There's probably not anybody gossiping about her at work. So for her to call you out in front of everybody and then demand an apology of some kind, that's some crazy narcissistic behavior she's got going on. And if I was in your shoes, there is no way I would put up with that for a second. This wedding is literally 2 years away, and she's already causing problems with your wedding. So in my opinion, I would never apologize to this woman. If she wants to burst into tears and throw a fit and break stuff around her house, then go for it. But you did quite literally nothing wrong, and that is something that you should absolutely hold on to. Am I the jerk for telling my friends that I don't want to rent with them the night before they're supposed to sign a lease? Because right now I'm so scared of what's gonna happen, and I seriously don't know what to do. I'm a 19-year-old first-year college student who about a week ago agreed with a group of 5 friends that I would be interested in living with them next school year. Yesterday, we found a place that we really liked and talked about how we would find out about the lease by the end of the week. But today, they've decided they want to sign the lease as soon as possible, or even by tonight, because the landlord explained that the market is competitive and they don't want to lose this nice house. But reading through the lease has made me realize I don't want to do this financially. Even with the 5 of us, this would cost me about $750 a month, or $9,000 to live there from August 2025 to July of 2026, not counting any of the utilities, and that is money that could be going towards classes. For reference, I am paying for school by myself, and I just came back from a gap year of working. I do not want to take any loans, and I have a lot of anxieties about going into debt after college, because that's what happened to my mom, and it still affects her to this day. My family also lives close enough to campus that I can just stay with them without having to pay anything. These friends are all from out of town, so they need to find a place to stay. I feel like a jerk now for saying that I don't think I can as soon as they're trying to sign a place, because I definitely could with the money that I've saved, but I know I'll regret it in the future. I know I really don't want to, but I feel like I have to because they don't have anyone else, and they need 5 people to make this work. Right now, I'm banking on the fact that my parents refused to co-sign, but I technically wouldn't need them them because my credit score is better than the both of them. Do I continue to lie and say that my parents are the reason I can't sign? Most, if not all of these places require us to have 2 co-signers because we are so young. But my parents' financial history are so poor, they don't think that they'd be approved as co-signers. I feel like a jerk because this is causing them a lot of anxiety, but it would be better for my own anxiety in the long run if I stayed at home and saved the money. I don't know how any of them are paying for school, so I feel awkward and kind of like a jerk for suddenly saying I couldn't afford it. So am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? Okay, based on the information we have, I have to say that yeah, I do think the original poster is kind of a jerk here. There's no way in the world you didn't know you had to pay some kind of rent. Like seriously, that should be obvious if you're going to be renting someplace. Now that's not to say that this really is kind of sketchy, because the landlord is like, guys, you gotta sign it like right away. The market's really competitive. Please sign it right now. Like anytime someone's trying to like do that to you, in my opinion, that's like super sketchy and I almost immediately back out. But I think the principle of the matter still stands. If you know for a fact you can't live with these people and it would be cheaper for you to stay at home and commute to school, then why on earth would you agree to like live with your friends? You really should not make promises like that, especially if you don't know the whole situation. So yeah, I do kind of think you're the jerk here, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of blowback, and hopefully there's not at all, because this really does come down to you saying to your friends, hey, my situation has changed. And if they really are your friend, then they'll be okay with it and find somebody else. Am I the jerk for turning off my roommate's laundry at 5 o'clock in the morning after the noise quite literally kept me and my girlfriend from going to sleep? Because right now, my roommate is incredibly frustrated with me, and at this point, I don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 21-year-old male, and I woke up to my girlfriend waking me up due to the laundry running super early on in the morning. For context, I share a house with 3 other college guys, and we all have pretty late sleep schedules except for one roommate. And for the sake of the story, we'll call this roommate Edward. Our washer and dryer are right outside my bedroom door, so any noise that it makes is super loud. Now, I want to just try to push through it and go back to sleep, but my girlfriend can't sleep, and I want to prioritize her more than anything. So I decide to turn off the dryer so we can get some sleep. Now, she is mad at this point because it's not just the first or second time that this has happened, but maybe the 5th or 6th time just this semester alone. And she asked me to say something in the group chat, but I say that it's not worth it and everyone is probably asleep anyways, so we can just bring it up in the morning. I just want to sleep for now. But she brings up a good point that it's just disrespectful for someone to run something that loud right next to our room so early in the morning or even late at night. I contemplate sending the message, but then seconds later, Edward is blowing up our group chat, accusing me of turning his laundry off all the time and saying that's why his clothing is never dry. I told him it was literally the first time I've ever done this, but he didn't believe me and kept pushing that I'm suspicious and basically making it out like I'm messing with his laundry on purpose. I tried to explain that I was just trying to sleep, but he did not seem to care and was only focused on his wet clothing. He also doesn't have any work or career fairs or anything like that. In hindsight, maybe I should have told him right away that I'd turned it off, but I was groggy and I didn't think that it would be such a big deal. When I eventually decided to send the message, he had already blown up our group chat. Edward insisted that he didn't have other times to do his laundry and accused me of being disrespectful for messing with his stuff. But I suggested maybe we could set quiet hours for the laundry, and he said that it wasn't that serious. So am I the jerk for turning off his laundry, all because it was literally preventing me from going to sleep? What should I do? Okay, so in my opinion, I kind of think everybody sucks here. For starters, you really should not have turned off his laundry. I understand it's late at night, but this honestly was not the right move, and I think talking to him in some kind of way would have been way better than what you did. But also, this roommate is a complete jerk. He's literally trying to paint you as the bad guy first, before you can be like, hey, stop doing laundry in the middle of the night. And for him to be like, oh, it's not that serious. It's like, okay, it was serious enough for you to send a message to everybody and call me out and make me seem like the bad guy. Like seriously, quiet hours are a good thing. And I really think that would be a good solution to this problem. So yeah, I think everybody can probably work on some stuff in this scenario, because the way this went down, in my opinion, was a bit immature. Am I the jerk for refusing to make calls to social services on my girlfriend's behalf after she forgot to call them after we went on a month-long vacation? Because right now, after I refused, she called me a jerk and got really upset. And at this point, I really don't know what to do. Here's what happened. Okay, so my partner has phone anxiety and executive dysfunction. A lot of the time, I need to be on top of things like bills, coordinating repairs, etc., and I have more or less accepted that. Without revealing where we live, she's been unemployed for nearly 2 years and has been on social service payments this entire time. Now, I've been and still am working full-time. She has a fair chunk of savings from when she did not work, and we currently live with with my parents, so there aren't many household expenses at the moment, though obviously she doesn't get much income. Recently, we went on a long vacation, and before doing so, I told her that she should notify social services that she would be leaving the country, as they would have to pause her payments until she returns. 4 weeks into vacation, she gets an international call from them, which she completely missed, and a notification that she now owes them money, so obviously she didn't do that. Now, I kept my mouth shut since scolding her wouldn't really do anything, and instead just figured it would get sorted out when we returned. Well, now, 2 weeks after we're back, she comes in while I'm working at home, saying that she's too anxious to call them and get it sorted out. So I offer to be there on hold with her, since I still need to get my work done. But she says that I could call them on her behalf when I'm on my lunch break. But you know what? I refused, because these calls take a notoriously long time, and it would almost definitely eat into my work hours as well. She's now calling me selfish and a jerk for refusing, and when I asked after finishing my work if she had called, she hasn't answered me, and instead just keeps saying, well, why does it matter to you? So am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? No, you're not the jerk at all, because this is something she absolutely needs to take care of herself. I completely understand that she has some things going on where she can't get things done and she has a lot of anxiety about making phone calls, but seriously, this is not something that should be shipped off on your table to take care of. For reference, the original poster is 30 and the partner is 29 years old. And sure, she messed up with payments and all that other stuff, but that doesn't mean it can't be fixed like pretty much right away. And you know what? Even if you did try to call on her behalf, this is literally only going to go so far until they need to talk to her directly. It's not like you're the one that's going to be processing the payments or anything like that. She still has to be the one to talk to them to get all of this taken care of. So why not just do it instead of trying to like pass it off on your boyfriend? Like that would be super annoying, and I would personally find that very frustrating, because she's more than capable of doing this. It's also super disappointing that she's reacting in the way that she is. She's calling you the jerk and saying, well, why does it matter to you if I called or not? And it's like, seriously, you are not the villain here. You're not the reason she missed her payments, because when it gets down to it, this is quite literally her own fault. So no, you're not the jerk here, and honestly, I think the way your girlfriend is acting is completely unacceptable. My mom asked me for a live organ donation after she destroyed her liver from drinking way too much. And now this has brought up feelings that I've bottled up my entire life, because at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. Okay, so my mom has been an alcoholic my entire life, and a few years ago, she went into liver failure. She then asked me to get my blood tested to see if I could be a potential match for a live organ donation. After a childhood of some neglect and use for emotional support for her, this really sent me into a spiral. I sought counseling about it, and I knew I wasn't going to do it, but being asked to do it is what really messed with me. Now, fast forward, and a young man passed away, and she got his liver before it got to the point of me going for more testing. She was sober for a year before, and for some time after the surgery, but in the last year or so, I've suspected that she's begun drinking again. But I went home for a visit a couple of weeks ago and found out for sure. She was drinking at my aunt's house where we were visiting, trying to hide it until she got too drunk to care. She was her usual dark and confrontational self that she is when she drinks, and I was very uncomfortable. I asked her if she should be drinking, and she said yes. And she wasn't just drinking, she got wasted. I mean, she could barely walk. The next morning, she asked me if I was mad at her, and I said no. And then I told her that I'm just not sure that she should be drinking. She then said that if I'm going to be mad at her, then she's going to leave. She then wanted me to convince her to stay, but I just said nothing, and then she left. Ever since then, I've talked to friends and to my therapist, and they all agreed that I need some space from her. So I then texted her saying that I needed some space, and she acted very immaturely, acting like she had no idea why I might do something like this, saying things like, I hope you know how devastating this all is for me. If I gave her my liver, went through the risky surgery, took months off of work, changed my body forever for her, and she was still drinking again, I would never speak to her again. But instead, she got someone else's liver. So am I allowed to be angry at this moment? Because right now, I really don't know what to do. Oh man, this really is a tragic situation. Your mom clearly has a problem, and I don't think any amount of transplants are gonna change that. And it's like, how selfish can someone possibly be? The only reason her liver is failing is because she is an alcoholic. It's not because of something outside of her control. This literally is something that she caused on herself. So the fact that she would take advantage of the fact that some young man died so that she could have this liver is just completely uncalled for. Like, this really is disrespectful to this young man's memory. And also for the original poster, I think it's completely reasonable to be angry about this situation, because you're watching your mom literally throw her life away. She's just drinking all the time and wasting away her one last opportunity at life. And I think the original poster is right. If they had taken taken time off work and gave a part of their liver over to their mom, only for her to start drinking it away again. Like, I would be so devastated and heartbroken. Like, I know for me, I would just walk away at that point. I would feel completely betrayed and be like, wow, I'm never helping you with anything ever again. Like, what does she actually expect? Is she just gonna keep drinking and ruin this liver as well? Like, why not try to make a change in your life and get some help? So truly, to the original poster, I'm so sorry you're dealing with this, and I'm so sorry that she asked you for your liver in the first place. Because based on what you described, this lady does not sound like a good mom in the slightest. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.